No, you have this. I have this knife screen. Let's see. Oh, I forgot. I forgot. Push the start. So, well, yeah, now you can see it. The screen. Sorry, I forget. Start. Start the session. Live. Now, 59. 59. Thanks. Start. Thanks. And manager. Website. Yes. Start it. The video. Yes. I will give you a quick review for the contents before I turn down the stats. I will give you the content before I turn the stats. I'll make a roll call. This week is 10. At the order of the student number, okay? 105. Yes. Is 105? Yes. 105 is 19010105. You. Oh, yeah. F193. Yeah, F190101005. Online. Yeah. Yeah. Why? No. This 10105. Yeah. Yeah. Outside China. Outside China. Yeah. So the outside China. So I only students in class. So you use the first one, not the first one. You use 105. 105 is not you. 105 is outside China. So it's not 105. Yeah. Here. But not in class. Yeah. So if you are here. And 105, next is 129, 129, and that's 130, and next is 102, 102, 03, or 102, 102. Oh yeah, and 105. Yes, it's huge. 105 there. 03 is no 01, it's 03, 03, 01, 05. 105, that's 106. Okay, thank you. And 110. Oh, yeah. And 112, 112. And the next is 122, 122, double two. And that is 125, 125, and 127, 128, yes, okay, thank you, and 133, yeah. Well, we'll come back to our class because I forgot to turn on the live live searching this button, so the students that are online they cannot see the contents I have gave you. So I want to make a quick review for it before we continue to the next step. Yeah. So in this class, we will talk about how to use the package, Swing package, to make a graphic user interface application. So at the very beginning, we give the history of this graphic user interface. Now we know we have different operating systems, so we have different graphic user interface. If we use Java, we only need to write one application because the Java application is run on the JVM, not on the operating system. So we do not to care about for the different APIs on different operating system. Only then the Swing, this package, is enough to make an application that are running on a different operating system. So this is history. We give the history about the graphic interface designing. And the next is we have two packages inside Java. We use two packages. Both of them, we can use them to design a graphic user interface application. The first is AWT. The another one is Swing. The first package, AWT, we only can use this AWT if we want to make an application with very simple, components. So we use this AWT because inside AWT we only have small amount of components for us. We don't have, we cannot make a better application, attractive application, not impossible with use AWT because the amount of components is not enough for us to make this attractive interface. But we can use swing. That's what we will talk in this chapter. In swing, the swing package will have a lot of components for us to use to build a very nice interface. So that is what we'll talk about. If you want to use a swing, you must import Java X.swing this package into code. So the next is we give you a first swing application named Hello World. That is a window. The window title is Hello World Swing. And then at the left side, we have a string at the left side, Hello World. How to make this code? We give this code, and inside the code we have these 6 statements that's to build the first graphic application. We have the JFrame. JFrame is for the window. Now we have the window. Its title is Hello World Swing. Hello World Swing. We have the window, which is the first statement. We use this statement. We get this window, and the left side, the string will come from the JLabel. So we create a JLabel object, and then we add the label to the component label to the container, that is JFrame. To add the label to the frame, we got this interface. So that is third statement do. And the next is we use the set default close operation method. Use this method, we deal with the action. If we push the close button of the window, it will close the button, close the frame, and the window will disappear. So we use this statement to deal with this action. And then with the pack method, we will compress this window and until it's wrap up this label, so this pack. We don't need to use this method in the future. And in this program, we use this sure how this use the function. And set a visible and make this application, we can see it on our desktop. We use true, this Boolean value. That is the first application. And the application will have 5 different parts that make up a graphic interface. That is container, components, layout management, event handling, and look and feel. To this program, the container is JFrame. What is container? Container is basement. It's a box for all these components. For example, JFrame window. We want to build the application, a graphic interface. Simply, we put these components into the container. Now we put the JLabel into a JFrame. We got the interface. That is a simple interface. In the future, we'll put more of these components to the frame. We got a complex interface. So that is how we build application, build the interface. And then layout management. The layout management, we got a special object, layout manager. This object will help us to decide the position of these components inside our container. Where we put the components is decided by the layout manager, not by us, by the layout manager. So we talk about different kind of layout manager that have different meaning. The board layout, as we know, the board layout, this layout manager, they divide the whole container into 5 different parts: the west, the side, the east, the center, the north, and the south. And once we add a component into JFrame, by default, it will be put into west, but we can change it to the east or center or south or north. Once we put it, the position never changes. Even if we change the size of the window, change the shape, the different shape of the window, the position will never change. I have give you a demonstration for it. Now it's what's demonstration? Right. Okay, the board layout. The board layout Now we have the fire button. We put it in a different position of this frame, the north, south, west, east, and center. We can change the window to the horizontal, to a vertical, to different shape, because in the future we have different devices. They have different screen. Some kind of device have this screen, but some kind of thing has this screen. So no matter what kind of device the application will run tomorrow in the future, the position we put it for example button 3 never change, always on the west of the screen. So that is the idea. We use this layout manager to decide the position of the component, because the Java program will never know in the future which kind of device our application will run. So we must decide its position, not by direct, we give the number, a pixel number, to the left side, the right side, how many pixel numbers to the left side, to the right side. No, we cannot do this. Instead, we give the relatively position, that is the west, the east, the up, and side down, things like that. And that is very important idea for the layout manager. So we have different kind of layout manager. Board layout, this layout manager is default layout manager for container, for JFrame. Each container have a default layout manager. The JFrame, the default layout manager is board layout, and the panel, the JPanel, the default layout manager is flow layout. What is flow layout? The flow layout is that you add this component into a window and will list this component as the order of add, from left to right, from up to down. So if I want to show you an example, that's the same. If we flow layout, flow window, now we have 5 buttons as a component to add it to the JFrame. And if this vertical, that is from left to right. And if it's vertical, and from top to bottom. If the horizontal, that is as a line, as a row, it's from left to right. As a column, it's from top to the left, from top to bottom. It's from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is the manager, the layout manager is full layout name. And we have another management is grid layout. Grid layout that will divide your interface to different grid as grids, different grid. You can put the component to one of the grid. For example, we have divided this. We'll give example now. Grid layout. Yes, grid layout. Grid window. Now it's grayed out. I've got grayed out. Now we divide our the container is JFrame. We divide it to 6 parts, and 2 column and 3 rows, 2 columns. Now we put the first button to the first row, first column, and the second button to the second column and the first row. So the position, no matter you change the window, this button always on the first grid, always on the second grid, or the third grid, never change it. This is grid layout. Okay? So we have the script back layout and card layout, different layout manager. They have different methods to divide your container and decide the position of the components inside your container. This is very important idea, but what we need to know is we understand the concept. In the future, we don't care for it, because in the future, how we build our graphics interface, we don't write code for it. We only use this design tool to help us to build the application interface. We use a drag and drop, use this operation. We draw the interface, use a tool and the tool will automatically generate code for us. So we don't need to know, oh, well, how we, well, at this time we use this grid layout, at this container we use grid back layout. We don't need to do this thing unless you write all your code by yourself, not by tool. If you use a design tool, you don't need to do this. And we strongly recommend all of you to use a tool to help you to generate the code, not by write the code, because it's very complex. For example, now we only have a very simple application, like a first application. It's simple. We only have 6 statements, but in the future, inside this container, we have lots of components and at different positions. So it's very complex if we write it by ourselves, write code manually. So we don't do this job. We make this design tool to help us do the job. All to do is to draw, to design this interface, and let the tool to generate the code for us. But we should understand that here. It's important. And the next thing is the event handling. That is how to okay. That is how to deal with this event. The event is we use mouse with keyboard because we will make it interaction with this interface with application. So we use a mouse or keyboard. If we use this device, it will generate event. How to deal with the event if we press a mouse button or we hit the key on the keyboard. This is event. We should deal with it. So event handling is very important because we have interactive through the interface, and we will make some kind of operation inside of a program. So it's very important. How to deal with it? We have in the simple, the first application, the Hello World application, we use a set for close operation. It's a special example because we use this method. This method is provided by the container. Not all of the container provide this method for us. JFrame have this method, set default close operation. We can use this method to deal with the event if we push the close button on the window. It's very simple, but it's not a general way to deal with event. Instead, we should use event handling model like this. We will use an event listener and use this listener to deal with this event. Okay. We will talk about this section. Well, in the section, event handling model, we'll talk about it. And look and feel. What is look and feel to a graphic interface? And look and feel, that is what your program looks like. The style, your application. For example, I'll give you an example. Well, what is it? I'll give you an example. Well, you can download this code. Download this code if you want. This is a Java demo. The demos. This code is from the Oracle site. You can download the demo. It's a zip file. Download it, unzip it. It give you a folder. Inside the folder, we have a lot of examples. We have a lot of codes. So we can use this code to learn how to use the different functions of this language. For example, the JVM. For example, the JFC, that is swing. The swing is a part of JFC. So we have a folder named the JFC, and we get into the folder, and now we can see we have this lots of examples for swing. For example, we get one of this. get one of this folder. We get into Swing set this folder, and we launch one of the application. All this application has been packed as jar file. The jar file, if you use NetBeans, once you finish your code, you can use build function in the menu, and the NetBeans will generate the jar file for you. The jar file is because we have application. It's not only one class inside the application. You have a lot of classes file for one application. So if you want to make them to only one file, you must compress them to a jar file. And if you use NetBeans, use build function, and NetBeans will make all the classes, compress them together, and give you only one file, a jar file. So you can launch a jar file simply by just like you click the icon of the application. You click the icon of the jar file. The condition is you must install JVM on your operating system, and the version of JVM should higher than 1.3. So you can click this icon of the jar file, just like click the icon of the execute file of the, for example, the Windows system, and it will launch the JVM, and your code will run. Okay? So here is a command. Command, we use the jar, we use parameter jar, and we launch this swing, this example, this application. Set this jar file. Well, this example code provided by Oracle Corporation. And what is look and feel? Now, look and feel, that's now it's a look and feel, Java look and feel. So you can see that this window, this control button, make the window larger, make the maximum, make the minimum, and close. It's like this. It's look and feel the Java style. But if this code in the future and one on the Unix motif, what it looks like. For example, motif look, Unix look, like this. So that's different. The control button, that's different. Mac machine is a close button, as window, that's totally different. And if you run a Mac, what is look like? Yeah, this is Mac. For that, the close button red, and it's window. This is window. And other kind of component, because it have different look and feel, they look like different. For example, I'll give you an example, like button. Where is button? This button, this look and feel for Mac. Inside Mac, it look like this. This button. And if you change to the motif, well, this button is different. The 3D, it's like a machine. The button you put it, and Java look and feel. That's different look and feel. In Java, you can make the look and feel as you want. For example, now your application currently is running on Windows, Microsoft Windows, and they should have the Windows look and feel, just like the Java look and feel. But you can change it. You can change it to the motif look and feel. Even currently, your application is running on Windows, but inside your application, inside your frame, you have this look and feel of Unix. You have look and feel like this. It's very cool. So you can change as you want. So this this is how the look and feel works. And if you want to change look and feel, simply you use this set look and feel method to do it. Okay. And this this five parts makes up the application interface: the container, the component, the layout manager, or layer management, event handling, and look and feel. Okay? So, as I was saying, now I don't want to write any code. Now, instead, I will use this tool, design tool to help me to make this application. How it, so I'll show you example. Now I don't want to write code for the first, for example, the first application, how we build them. We don't need to write code for it. Instead, I will use a design tool. How to do it? Now we will create a new project and keep it empty project. So I've got the empty folder. Now this is very important. New, and the menu pop out. Don't choose the Java class. Instead, use JFrame form. If you use Java class, the NetBeans will not launch the design tool for you. So you select JFrame form. Use this menu item. Now I give it a name. My hello app. First swing application. Finish. And now you can see we have the design tool. This is a frame. In the future, you have this frame, and this JFrame is a container. So you will give its title. Give its title as Hello World Swing. How to give its title? You don't need to write code. Simply, there's properties window. The property window at the right side. You see, here's the properties for JFrame because currently you work on this object, JFrame. So the property window is for the container for the JFrame. They're not all properties. One of them is title. You find its title. So you give its title as Hello World App. For example, this title, Hello World. Give a space. Now I'll give the title to this frame, but we can see it. So there is an icon as an eye on it. You click it to preview and you see in the future what your application looks like. It's Hello World app. It's the title for the window. Okay, that is the title. And next is the event handling. How to deal with the event if we push the close button, the window will disappear. How we do it? Because this JFrame provides a method to deal with this event. So inside the property window, we now look at this default close operation, and the list is excellent close, do nothing, hide. We choose the excellent close. Okay, that this code, when we press this button, the window will disappear. We have make this code. We don't need to write the code. Simply, we customize this properties, this item. We give its actual value for it. So that's enough. Now we will put something inside of JFrame. We put the Hello World, put a still label to this window. So on the right side, we now notice swing containers and swing controls. A lot of things inside it because we want to put the component to it. So it's swing controls. The list of swing controls, we find the label here. Simply drag this label, drag to the JFrame, drag to a container, and drop here. Drag and drop, put it to the right position. If you want, put its position, and now we have this component on your container, the label on your JFrame on this container. Now you select this object. Now the current working object is JLabel. So the property window is for the JLabel. So the proprietary window now for JLabel, you can customize for it. For example, the text that displayed on this label is hello world. So the text property we give is hello world. Okay, I'll give it hello world, and now we get it hello world. And if we want to put it at the left side, put it here. If we want to put it to the right side, put it here. We don't care about the layout management. We don't need it because the design tool will generate the code according to the position we draw. So we don't need to write this select this layout manager. We don't need it because the tool will help us do it. So simply we put this component to the place to the position we want. Hello. Okay. Well, now we finish our application. We don't need to write any code for it, but the tool have already generated a lot of codes for us. If you want to see them, here is a source button. You push this button, and you will open the source code at the window. The edit window will sort that here's the code here, and here's this part sign. You click the part sign, and all this code is generated by the design tool. You will notice that it will have made a JLabel, a reason variable for the component, and inside the code, if you look into this code in detail, you will notice that it uses it already have this give you this the look and feel is a standard look and feel, and give you okay. Where's it? Oh yeah. Where's it? Support the look and feel. Yes, look and feel. Where's the manager? Oh, here's the manager. The general code. Well, this JLabel. It create a label. This code is generated by the design tool. You can read it, but you don't need to edit it. You can read it if you want. Create a label object and set text and make this text displayed on the label hello world, and set title for the window for JFrame. And the user layout is group layout. It's group layout, the kind of new layout. How it's mean? We don't need to care about it. The user's layout, and add the component, add the label to the JFrame, and all this code have already generated for you. You don't need to write any code for it. Only you drag and drop and draw the application. And the left all this code to the design tool. Okay. That's what this is application. And to close it, let me save it. Okay. So come back to the slides. Close it. Wrong. Slide here. Okay. Well, next we'll show you a new application. That is this kind of application. The second example, swing application. Now this swing application, it's a little bit complex than the first example. The first example is only we give a window, and on the left side we have a JLabel as a string. But the second example, we have this window, and inside the window we have this rectangle black, and inside it we have the button and have a string. And how it works? See, and we run it, run the code. We have already run the code in it. Step 10, yes, let's code and the simple application I will swing as here. We are running. Now this application. This is the application. Well, we have this little bit complex than the first example. Now we have this, we have a black with this black border, well, button, and then swing button, and the number of clicks if we hit the button, and the number of clicks will show at the label. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, a record of the clicks of the button will show on the label. Oh. Now, if you want to design this application, how we should do it? It's the same, although it's a little bit complex than the first example, but it's not a tough task for us because now we have a powerful design tool to help us to design application. So what we should do is we use this design tool to drag and drop, and we get this application. But if we want to write the code by ourselves, it's complex because now we have more components. We have button, we have label, we have panel. Now we have a panel. The panel, we put the panel, first we should put the panel into the JFrame. And the panel has a border, a black border. And then I put this button and the label into the panel. And the layout is different. The layout for the JFrame is board layout. So we put the panel in the center of this JFrame. And the next step, the JPanel, the layout we use, the layout manager is the grid layout. So we use grid layout, we divide the panel to two grids, the top and the bottom. So we put the button to the first grid and put the label to the second grid. So we got this interface. And if we write it by ourselves, write code, the code is a little more complex. If you want to read it, you can read it. But we don't need it. We use the same way to drag and drop to draw the application. So I will show you how to do it. Now, it's the same. I will create a new project, okay, and make it empty. Now got its empty folder, and now the same. We new notice JFrame form, not Java class. Using the Java class, we can use this design tool. JFrame form, and it's we give its name swing application. Swing application is a name. Now we have this JFrame already here. And the first, we should drag a panel to it. So the panel is in the container list. So we find panel, JPanel here. We drag the panel to the JFrame. And now we can customize its size. And now the current working object is the panel. So the proprietary windows for the panel. So we can customize this panel. Now give this border. The border default is no border, so it's transparent. But now we give its border. So for example, we give border have different kind of border. We can choose. We pick up. Now we pick up the line border. Pick up line border, and we set the corner to the orange corner, and the thickness, for example, the 4, make it more thick. Now we have this border, orange border for the panel. Then inside the panel, inside the container, we will put our components, the button and label. So first we drag the button, the jet button here, and we customize the size of button. And notice current working object is jet button. So the property window is for the button. We can customize it. The text that should on the button, we change it as, for example, is I'm a swing button. Now we give its name as the swing button, and we drag this label the same place here. Put it on bottom, and the label, the current working object is label. So the property window now is for the label. At the same, we can change its the text as, because we want to show the number of clicks, so we give it prefix the number of clicks. The number of clicks. The number of clicks default is 0. Okay. Now we have this label at the bottom, at the button at the top position of this panel. Okay. Now we can show our application, and no problem. So we can run it. Now I can run it. I run. Oh no, not this code. Not this. It should be. Oh, here. The wrong file. Now, yes, so my location here. Well, we have this interface, but it cannot work. We press the button, nothing happens because we haven't write code for it. So next step, we will tell you how to write this event handling code for deal with this operation. Our operation is, if we press the button, the number of clicks will increase from 0 to 1. You click again, it becomes 2. Click again, it increased and becomes 3. And the number of clicks will be shown on the label. That's our operation we should do. When we press the button, while we test, what we should do is we increase a variable. We should declare a variable inside of program. The default value is 0. Once we push the button, the variable will increase by 1. Each time increase 1. And we show the result to the label. That's the task what we do when we press the button. So how to do this code? This is not this problem. So before we get into the next step, now we will give you some concept for it. That is how to deal with events inside Java. No, we have this DEM model. The model name is DEM. Delegation event model. The model means what? That is, well, something wrong. Where's model? Where's, oh, okay. How it works? It's easy to understand because it's just like when you use currently. Nowadays, we have this social network. For example, WeChat. We use WeChat. We use this social network software. For example, one of your friends have a moment. you want to watch his moment, how should you do? The first step, you should register on his moment. You focus on his moment. So the restaurant to the moment. And then, once your friend posts a new message, take a new photo, or write a new text on its moment, that you will get a notification on your own WeChat client. So you'll see a red dot on this friend, and you know, oh, he or she post a new message or photo in his moment. So you can open it, click it, and then you can read its text or view his picture. That is how the DEM model works. It's the same. So we have event source. The event source is just like the moment of the WeChat. And event listener is you. And you want to read your friend's moment. So the first step, you should focus on it. You should register on it. So the event listener, the first step, must register on the event source. What is the event source? For example, the button. In our vacation, we have this application, and this button is event source. When the event comes, we use mouse. We use mouse hit. We press the mouse button. We hit the button. Hit the button. That is the event. So it will generate an object named the event object, and this object will pass to event listener. So event listener is an object just like you, and this event object is just like the message, the notification. If your friends post a new picture on its moment, you will get a notification. So you as the listener, you get the listener, you get a notification. So the next step is you can do your operation, read its text, view its picture. So here's the same. As a listener, this object get its event. So next, as a vacation, what we should do is text is we increase the variable by 1 and show the result on the label. That we should do. That is our event handling. Okay. That is the model works. It's same as a social network. Okay. Have a break. Oh. And next week we have the vacation, okay. And for the label holiday, and then next Thursday we should have class, but according to the timetable, the course timetable, it's experiment. So next Thursday we don't have class at night, and instead we have experiment on Friday. On Friday, let me check what. On Friday should be the Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon we have a experiment. We'll check it out. Check it out. Class experiment. Let me check it out. Yes. Experiment. Yeah. Experiment. First experiment. Let me make sure. Well, the first experiment, the time is, yeah, it's next month, May 7th. May 7th is next Friday. The next Friday afternoon, from afternoon p.m. 3:35 to 5:10 p.m. We have 2 class hours for experiment. We'll do our first experiment. First experiment is current convert, currency convert. So it's not complex. And today's class, I'll show you how to do it. Use example, the same. Thesis converter is the same. A temperature converter, we will do a currency converter. We convert US dollars to RMB, yuan, or you can change it as different countries' currency and to make a convert with a red. Here's your first graphic user interface application. Okay. The time is next Friday afternoon. So next Thursday we don't have class. This time is changed to next Friday, and we have class. We have experiment in the lab. The lab is room the sixth building. Do you know the sixth building? The computer school. The computer school, the building. Yeah, it's red. The color is red as building. The is number 6 building. It's computer school, and the second floor, the room is 6. Second floor is 206. It's room number 206. The second floor, it's a computing center's lab. One of lab of computing center. We will make our experiment here. You have already do experiment for computer principle. Yeah. Yes. It's the same building. The same building, number 6, the computer school building, but different lab. We have the lab is on the second floor. The second floor, 206. Okay. The time. I will give this the document. Will upload it to DingTalk. This will convert it. Upload this the first experiment to you. Upload it, and very important. Once you finish this experiment, next Friday, we will have the first experiment. Once you finish it, you must write the lab report. The lab report for the experiment. And the format, we have a template for this lab report. I will upload it to the DingTalk. And the template is lab reports like this. And the lab report, and you fill out these blanks, the time and your name, its number, and name of the experiment, the first experiment, objective and requirements. You simply copy it from the experiments document. The environment is the same. And 3, the section, contents. And the 4th section is summary. You must write it by yourself. The 3rd is the contents of the experiment, how you design this experiment. You can draw some picture for it and how you design it. Write something here, but do not post all your codes here. You should write something, keep it concise. Do not put a code here. And the summary. And and you should describe your program. When you write a program, you compare your program, you run your program, you have problems. Maybe the compare error, maybe a runtime error. How you deal with this error? How you fix your code? You should write something for it inside the summary section. It's important. Okay. To the students, that is not in the classroom and it's online. It's the same. You should finish this experiment. We have 4 experiments for our course. This is the first experiment. You should finish experiment on your own computer, and after you finish it up, you must write the lab reports for it. So each student must submit 4 lab reports at the end of the semester. 4 lab reports for 4 experiments. The first, second, 3, and the 4th experiment. Okay? You should write 4 lab reports for them. This is the first one. So for both students online and in person, they're the same. You must finish up. When you finish up the experiment, you must write up the lab report. And at the end of the semester, you must submit them. How to submit, I will give you detailed information. The next week is 11th. The 11th week and the 12th week. The next week, I will give you the final project. About final project, I will give you a detailed introduction for this final project, how this final project is, how you do it, what you should do for the final project. I will arrange a special class for it, for the final project in the next week. The next week we have experiment, and next week we will give a class for the final project. Okay. So that's for the experiment. I will upload these 2 files. Upload 2 files to DeanTalk. So I will upload it. This. Well, not this. Close it. There's DeanTalk. We'll upload right now. Yeah. There's upload. And file. And now we have the first experiment and the template for the lab report. Upload to file and then download in the DeanTalk for the slides and the template for lab reports and the first experiment document. Okay. Now we come back to our slide. Now we have this event handling model. The question is, we have the model, how we code, write code for it. So you have to understand the event source and the event object and event listener. The first concept that we should understand is the event source, not its event object. So when we use the mouse, for example, we use the mouse, we press the mouse button, we have 2 buttons, left button and right button for a mouse. When we press the left button on for example, our application is here. We press the left button on this button. It will generate an event object. Which kind of event object? We have 2 event objects well generated. The first one is low-level event object. The second is high-level. The low-level is for mouse, only for mouse. For example, Now we move our mouse to the button and we press it, so it will give you a mouse event. It's mouse event. But we have a higher level events at the same time. That's not for mouse. It's for the button, for the component. We press this button on this mouse button on this button on application. That means we push the button. So it gives you an action event at the same time. So we use the same action. We move mouse on this button and we press the left button, and this event source will give you two event objects at the same time. One is the low level event object, that is mouse event, and second one is a high level event object, that's action event. So you have two different kinds of event objects. Which one you want to deal with depends on what you think. If you want, for example, in your application, what you want to deal with is when we press the left button on this area, I will change the color of the button. So if you want to do this task, you should deal with the mouse event object, because this is for the mouse operation, mouse pressed on this area, so you change the color of this area. You don't care for push the button, what happened. You don't care for it. You only care for this inside this area, what you want to do. We'll change the color for it. But your task you want to deal with is when you push, you must press the mouse on this button, and this button, named as IMSW button, this button as an entity is pressed. So it pressed the button and it will record the clicks of the button. So at this time, what we'll deal with is a high level event object. So you should deal with an action event. So depending on your application, depending on what you want to do, depending on task, you choose different kind of event object. And how to deal with different event objects in Java, you should implement different interface. If you want to deal with a mouse event, you must implement a mouse event interface. If the high level, you must implement action event interface. So we have different interface, and implement different interface, you got different listener. Because you have to make a listener to deal with these events. So the listener, this class, it will implement different kind of interface, depend on the type of the event object. The high level or lower level, different event object. As a listener, you implement different kind of interface. That's it. Okay. So in this our application, what we want to deal with is high level event. We press the button, the whole entity, the button is pressed, and we will have a variable. We will use the variable to record the clicks of the button. So we use a high level event. So we use action event. So this event listener will implement the action listener. So we implement the action listener, and now it's our code. We have a mic class. The mic class is a listener. Is a listener inside the project, inside the model. Inside model, we come back here. We have a listener, event listener. Now we write a class. The name is my class. The my class is a listener. It implements the action listener, the high level interface. So we can deal with the high level event, the action event. So inside it, the action listener as the interface of the API. Inside interface, it has an interface method named as action performed. As we know, we implement an interface, we must implement the interface method in our class. So inside the action listener, interface method is action performed. So we should write something for the action performed. That is our task. Once we push the button and the action performed, what we do, we have a variable we define as number of clicks. The default value is 0 and increase the number of clicks. And then we will show the result on the label. On the bottom, we have a label. We show the result. So we use set text. Set text. Label prefix is string. That is number of button clicks, then followed by number of clicks. The default is 0. Push a button, it becomes 1 and 2 and 3. Increase each time. So we got a result and display on the label. That's what we do. That is task. We write a task inside action perform method. This my class is listener. So now we have a listener. We write the listener. How we finish the different other kind of parts of the model, we should register on this event source. How to register on it? We write a statement as add action listener. Button is an event source. Add action listener is make the registration. Make the registration, and we add this action listener. We build a connection between the listener. Listener is my class and the event source. So we follow the model. Now this is how we should deal with this event. When we push the button, we write the task, we write the code for task inside the action perform method for the action event. But if you implement different kind of event, the method may be different. For example, the mouse listener. The mouse listener inside it, mouse listener will have different method defined for it in the method. For example, the mouse move, mouse pressed, mouse release, mouse remove, mouse press, mouse release. That's different. Depending on the different interface, we have different different interface method. Okay, but now we come back to application. Should we write this code by ourselves completely? No, because now we have tool. Remember, we have powerful tool. So what we should do is make the tool understand what we should do and generate the framework for us. We don't need to write the framework. For example, we don't need to write the class. We don't need to write this registration step. What we only need to write is a task, because the tool do not know what we should do for this task. So what we really need to do is write the code for our task. But the framework for event handling, we don't need to write them. Define my class, implements action listener, add action listener. We don't write this code. Simply we ask the help for this job by our tool. Yeah. So we come back to NetBeans now. We continuing our application. Now we have application, but we don't have event handling. Now, what we want to deal with, the event source is I'm a swing button. So you select swing button. The first step, you select the event source. Event source is button, and then right-click your mouse. Right-click your mouse and have a menu. And inside the menu, you'll find a menu item named as events. And lots of interface listed here. And the event one handling is action event. So you select event, action, action performed. That's it. So the tool understand what we want to do. It will generate a code, generate a framework for us. It will generate a listener. It will implement an interface. And it will put the cursor here. That is the rest job is write our code for our task. That's enough. We don't need build the framework. The tool help us to generate code for us to build the framework for the event handling. The left job is write code for the task. What is our task? We should define a variable. The first we define variable, so we define a variable here. We write, for example, private. We use the int number of clicks. So variable, the default is 0, and then here's a code for event handling, the method. Now we will increase number of clicks. And then we'll display the result to a label. To a label. What's the label? The reference name is JLabel1. We know the name because we don't write the code. The label is generated by the tool, so the name is labeled as JLabel1. So we come back to our source code. Now we know the label. This name is labeled JLabel1. It's a name given us. It's label1. Yeah, 1. We have a method as text. So set text. The text is the number of clicks in column, and now we put the result number of clicks here. Okay. Well, I'll finish the code. We don't want any other code here. Our task is increase the variable and display it on the label. So we finish the code. Now we can run it. Now we have this code, and now if we hit the button and the variable will increase 1 and display on the label, and press again, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, and displays on this label. That we finish our application. So that is how to deal with the event in Java. We need an event handling model, but we don't need to write all of the codes. We only need to write the tasks. The rest of the thing, the framework, will generated by the tool, the design tool, help us to build the framework for event handling. So make us easy to do these tasks. Okay. That's what we do. And next, I will give example. Another example is sys converter. The sys converter, now the third example is now we have a text field. If you want to input something to your application, you have the text field. For example, we input 80 Celsius degree, and we hit the convert button, and the temperature will convert from the Celsius to Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit is 176. Okay, so the first step, we have this component as JText field. This component name is JText field. And simply, where is the JText field? Well, So we want to build it and build it. Where is it? It's 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Chapter 10. There's a source code and default. Systems converter. Here's the systems converter. Well, this is the text field. The text field component we drag. Here's text field, JText field. Drag JText field and drop here, and you have JText field. And the degrees Celsius, degrees Fahrenheit, simply as a string. If you want to display a string on your frame, your window, you use a label and customize this string. And we use this label to display the result, the Fahrenheit result. So I have defined a button. So next thing is, when we hit the convert button, what we should do is the same. We focus on this button and we select events and the action performed, and now the framework has built it. So what we should do is, the next thing is write a task, write a statement for a task. We don't need to build this framework because the framework is built by the tool, already built it. So what we should do is rest start for us is to write the statement for our task. Our task is read the number we input in the JText field. We input into the JText field, read it, get it, and make the calculation and get the result and display on the label the temperature in Fahrenheit degree. So when we get the text, we use getText, use this method to get the information when we input into a text field. The getText will get what we input into a text field, but it's a string. Even if what we input is a number. For example, if what we input is 80 in the text field, but we use this getText method, the result, the return value is a string. So what we should is convert the string to the actual number. In chapter 4, we have tell you the method. Convert a string to the number. We have tell you how to do it. So here's a simple method. We use a double. For example, what we input is a double value. We parse double, use this method, and convert a string to a double value. So we got a double value, and now we can make calculation. We times 1.8, we plus 32, we got a result, and because we will display the integer value, so we use a cast it to the integer value, we got a temperature. And the next is to display it in the JLabel. Display it in JLabel. So we display it in JLabel, that we finish this application. So we can run it. Well, now we got this here. No, not this one. This one. Wrong file. Oh, now we have this, and we input 80 degrees Celsius and convert, and the result 178, 76. 76 is the result displayed. And if we input is 0, and result convert is 32. That's it. That is the application. Your first experiment is to make a currency converter, money converter. We'll come back to your first application. Your first experiment. Okay, I'll show you the first experiment. Your first experiment is to design a desktop application with graphic user interface, which is used to convert money, input money, for example, in RMB, yuan, and convert to the US dollars. This is the same. Just like this, here we input is temperature in Celsius, and we make a calculation because we have this convert function. We use a function and we convert it to the Fahrenheit and display result on this label, and it's the same. Instead, the calculation is more simple because we have the rate and we time the rate and we got the result. So we got the input from the text field and the time the rate and got a result and display on the label. And we write all this text in the event handling code with a convert button. We write all this text in the event handling method. That's the same as this temperature converter. It's the same. So you can follow the example, use the example as a basement to make your experiment the same. That is for experiment the same as our application for the temperature converter. So we come back to it, and next I will tell you is how to make this component. This component means a radio button. A radio button in NetBeans, the radio button is the same. You can find a radio button. You simply drag and drop here, got a radio button. Because a radio button, if you only have one radio button, that's no use. You must have more than two radio buttons. So once you have drag and drop two or three or more radio buttons here, and what you should do is you should remember you must add them to a group, a button group. So you should add them to a button group, and now this radio button can work. But in Java, because we don't want you write this code, so simply the same, and then that means you drag the radio button here, and here's a button group. You drag a radio button group here, and radio button group, you drag radio button group. Now you have a radio button group here, the radio button group, and you add this each of this button, radio button to the group. You drag the radio button group here. Just customize the property, and you can add them into it. And once they become group, and one become the radio button, because each time it's only allowed to press one. The radio buttons each time if you work on it, it's only allowed to, if you run the code, the radio button, run the code, this is the radio button. Radio button is if you have different options, but each time only one option should select it. You select 1 or 2 and 3. So you use radio button. Okay. And how to deal with the radio button? It's the same as the regular button. As the regular button, we use this action performed. It's the same. You follow the same step to deal with event of the radio button. Another button is checkbox. The checkbox is the button that at the same time you can choose. You can select 1 or 2 or all of them. That's the checkbox. The checkbox is the same on this control list. You can see, here's the checkbox. You drag drop on here. And the difference from the radio button is you don't need the button group because they don't have the button group. They're standalone. The checkbox is standalone. So the rest of the thing is the same. If you want to deal with this, use the same same action perform method to deal with the checkbox, the same as the regular button. Well, now the thing is dialog. How to make a dialog in your application? A dialog means you pop out a dialog to show something because the warning or some kind of message, or you ask a user to make a choice. All of things you can pop out a dialog box to do it. How to do it? Inside Java, it's quite simple. Only use the J option pen. The J option pen is different method. It will pop out different kind of dialog box. For example, you write the statement as here, J option pan shoe message dialog. This is for the JFrame, because the dialog box is the owner of the dialog box is a JFrame, is a window. So this is stands for the window, and this is a fatal arrow. The fatal arrow is a formation, and the arrow is title, and the red icon comes from the J option pan arrow message. Is a parameter to decide which kind of icon. If you write arrow message as a parameter, you got a red icon here. It's a shoe message dialog, worry message. And if you want to show some other, it's not a worry, it's only information, you use the same message, shoe message dialog. Use same, but this parameter you change it as information message. So you got the blue icon here, not the red icon, because you have the information message. And if you want pop out a message box, and this box, dialog box want the user to make a choice, yes or no, must give a confirm, and use shoe confirm dialog. And are you okay? The title and display information, and you got two button, yes or no, and J option pan yes or no option will make an icon as a question mark here. And if the user pressed the yes button, it got the result as 0. And if you got no button, it got result as 1. So you got int value, return value, and you use this return value, you can know the user which button you hit, the yes or no, and you you continue task. So it's confirm dialog. And instead, the confirm dialog have extendable version, that is option dialog. So in the option dialog, you can change. In the confirm dialog, yes or no, you cannot change the text on the button. But option dialog, you can change the text on the button, and you give its string OK or cancel, OK or cancel. You define array for it, and use the shoe option dialog and give its display information on the button, and you can define more than 2 buttons. If it has 3 or 4, that's allowed, because you use the option dialog, you can define more than 2 options here. And if we define 3 options, you simply this array, you have 3 items for string to define the text at the display on this button. So the option dialog is extended version of this dialog box, of the confirm dialog. Okay, and it's the same. It's the return int value, and to get the value and to know which button and the user hit it, which choice is selected. And this is option dialog. And here the dialog. The next one is input dialog. Input dialog is used as shoe input dialog. And if you use this dialog box, and it allows you input something in the text field, and the return is a string object. The string object is what input inside this text field. That is shoe input dialog. It's the same. If you input this number and you want to make some calculation, before you make a calculation, you must make this converting from a string to the number. It's the same as an example. The shoe input dialog. These are 5 different kinds of dialog box in your application. You can use it. Simply use a statement to do it. It's quite simple. So now I have this application. I'll write a demo for it. Let's see what it looks like. And this dialog, we run it, and you can see it. It's simple. Shoe message dialog. One is message box arrow popped out, and dialog information dialog. A confirm dialog. Now you have a choice, yes or no. If you push yes, return value is 0. If push no, return value is 1. It's the input value. Option dialog is the same. The difference is you can change the label. Change the label. You can customize them. And the return value is still an input value. Okay, return 0, cancel, return 1. An input dialog, you can input something, input string inside the text field. And for example, hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, and get the string as the return value. So input dialog. This is how to implement dialog box in your application. Sometimes you need it. When sometimes you should pop out dialog box, tell user what happened, or ask your user to make a choice. It's very important. And at the end of today's class, I will tell you how to make menus. If you want to make a menu, for example, I will give example. I will make a project, a new project for it. Okay, now we have empty object, empty project folder. This first step is the same. We make a JFrame, and now we will add menu for it. Add a menu for it. Now notice that this top left area we find here is a list for menu function, the swing menus, and the same. Drag the first. You should put the menu bar. Drag a menu bar to your frame. Here's a menu bar, and on the menu bar default they have two menus, File and Edit. But you can delete it. If you don't want it, you can delete it. Delete it. I don't want the edit menu. Delete it. And you can add your own menu. So you find it in menu. Drag the menu to it. For example, I will name the menu as, so now the currently working object is JMenu. So, and the text we change, the menu is about. It's about. Menu is about. Okay. And now you have a menu bar and two menu. One is the file, another is about. You can run your application. Run your application to see the menu bar and the menu. And now you have this menu bar and two menu, but you don't have menu items because you don't have added. So next step, we'll add a menu item for them. So you come back to this application design interface, and now we will add menu item to it. So simply drag an item to the menu you want to add a menu item. For example, about. Add the first menu item, and the same. Now, currently working object is menu item, so you can customize this. There's a property window. You give its name as text. For example, the first menu item is version. The version, okay, is the first, and we can add the next menu item to it. The same menu. The next item is, for example, the next item is I change this text as help. Okay. Now you have two menu items for this menu. You can check the menu item. You run the file. You can see now your application. We have two menu, and about menu. Now we have two menu items. One is help, another is version. Now, how to deal with action? Because if we hit the version, for example, if you hit the version menu item, it will pop out a dialog box to show the version of this application. How you should do? So, how to deal with the event of the menu is the same as regular button. So simply select this menu item. Right, press your mouse and select events and action, and action perform the same. And then at this to do here, and add your code. Our code is we will pop out a dialog box to tell us the version of application or the author application. So, where's my slide? Simply, we have tell you how to do this dialog box. We will show the message dialog box here. So we copy this code and we put it here. Oh, something wrong. Not this code. We right. Yeah. Copy and we put here. Now, here's a compare arrow. Where's the compare arrow? What is compare arrow is? Hit Bob. He told me add import. Oh, and leave a Java option pen because we use option pen as a simple name, so we had import it before we use it. So now import Java option pen. Option pen show message dialog box. This is code is the version, the code version. It's for example 1.0 is the version. Okay, and now we finish the code and run it. Now we add a function to our menu item. If we hit the version, median will pop out a dialog box to tell us the version of application. It's simple, the same as regular button event handling. The same. So regular button event handling is very important because lots of components use this use this event handling method. The regular menu, the radio button, the checkbox, menu item, they're all the same. So you should understand it. So that's it for today. In today's class, we have tell you how to build your own application. And today's class is very important because your first experiment and maybe the rest of the experiment, you have to build graphic user interface. And your final project is application with your graphic user interface. So today's class is very important. The rest of the thing is you should practice this code. So these slides I have uploaded to the DingTalk. So download this slides and do each of the code, each of the example on your own NetBeans platform, one by one. And you open your NetBeans and you can, now we have NetBeans and this is as a component and you try to drag them and put here and see what happens. So try it, practice and code it. It's the only way to learn this chapter. It's very important. If you have any questions, please post a message on WeChat. Okay. That's for today, class. And remember, not on Thursday, it's on Friday. And we have this class in NAP. Template. Remember the template for the label report. Use a template to write the label report after you finish up the first experiment. Okay. Oh. 22?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, War. Thank you. Have a nice week. Thank you. See ya.